Just how are you feeling physically, and what's the summer been like for you just trying to rehab that shoulder?
I'm feeling great. Ready to get training camp started. But I mean, the summer was great. You know, I think June was probably the toughest month, just trying to, get the strength back into the shoulder. But I mean, overall, it was a great summer.
How much did you just miss playing basketball?
I missed it, but at the same time, that was probably my first break from basketball since 8th grade, maybe. So it was good to kind of reset and get my mind, focused on the things that I needed to focus on to get back to being heard.
Seems like a lot of the messaging for the new regime, running things, it fits off court, it fits your personality on court. How do you feel like you fit in with this new, like, Joe Dumars and all that?
What you mean?
It just meant, like, how do you think you fit in their, like, mindset? How do you agree or move with them?
I mean, I do think we have similarities in the ways that, he sees the game and how he wants the game to be played. And I feel like I've kind of been that my whole life, just playing hard regardless of the score or record. And I think that, would take us a long way.
What's the biggest difference that you've noticed with Dumars around?
I mean, his energy is different. You could tell he played, he understands. I mean, he gets it, so he's kind of easy, he's super easy to talk to.
You talk about having that mental reset. How do you think that kind of helped you the most?
I mean, it was just refreshing, to be able to kind of break my game down, give my body some time to rest, and then just attack the rehab, to try to get the most out of it, that I could. And I feel like, I maximized my time off to get ready for the season.
Were you able to get some fishing done with the
For sure. I didn't get to fish a lot because of the shoulder, of course, but once they cleared me to be able to fish, I was back in Alabama probably the next weekend.
Herb, you didn't get a lot of time to play with Yves Missi last season, but to me he does a lot of things kind of like you that don't always show up on the stat sheet. A lot of good defensive, mental, knowing what to do on defense a lot. Obviously you have Jose Alvarado, and fans were begging to have you be first team all defense. You got that under your belt. Are you going to try to go for Defensive Player of the Year this year? I mean, I know the obvious answer, but how important is that to you to get that accolade also?
It's not as important as winning. So if I don't get the trophy and we win a championship, I'm perfectly fine with that. It's not a goal I just set out to try and achieve. I just try to show up and be there for my teammates, and sometimes that may end up in a highlight block that you guys may consider a highlight or a steal, but I just try to show up for my teammates.
To that point, the projection, some of it's based on the way that the season finished last year, but it'd be 30 wins for this team, 32 wins. Do you pay attention to any of that, and can you use that as fuel, maybe some of those low expectations?
I mean, I think some people can, but I try not to pay attention to anything anybody says about the Pelicans, just to keep a clear mind, Coming into work, I don't want to be worried about, what somebody said we may finish or, how many wins we might get. Time will tell. If we show up and do the work, I'm confident in our team.
Joe said yesterday one of the reasons why they liked Jordan was because of his age and the fact that he fits the timeline with you and Trey and Zion. Are you all cognizant or talk about the fact that you are entering the prime of your career when other players have historically won championships, and this may be the best opportunity at success?
Nah, I mean, I've kind of been a day-by-day guy. I come in and talk to him, about certain things defensively that we might try to do, but the age thing, I haven't really had conversations about all of us being. I think we all know, so it's not a conversation we need had.
That point Trey just talked about young depth. How do you feel about that perspective? And you guys still being young, but in a sense still vets too.
Yeah, it is crazy that they're considering me a vet. I thought it was year 7 when you become a vet, but I mean, they've kind of been calling me a vet just because of how, I move and the way I go about my work. But I mean, it's an honor, to be around, especially in the same organization for 5 years and to get that title. I mean, we just got to show up and, be professional and kind of lead the way for the younger guys.
To that point too, I consider you a vet. I consider one of the best defensive players in the NBA. What you do on the court is obviously you have your own mentality, the own way that you approach the game. You have somebody now as a vet put an arm around a guy like Jeremiah Fears or even Jordan Hawkins. From the defensive standpoint, what sort of advice would you give those guys to mimic your style? Because that style of defense is something that not a lot of players have.
I mean, I think it's all effort. And I tell guys, you don't have to be first team defense. You just have to give an effort. And I think that'll take care of itself. If you try, you can't, no one can say you didn't. And that's all I ask of any of my teammates.
You signed a contract this summer. How did that conversation come about, and why was it important for you to secure a long-term future here in New Orleans?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to be in New Orleans. And I know a lot of people, they probably had a lot to say about the amount or, the years, but my family is taken care of. I love New Orleans. And they gave me a chance to sign a contract to stay here. And I took that chance, It's nothing like, being able to take care of your family, especially coming from, where I come from in Alabama. I kind of looked at it as a once-in-a-lifetime thing, so, I mean, it was definitely a blessing to get that done. I mean, I was just ready to get to work.
What do you love about New Orleans?
The people. I'm close to home. I'm 4 hours away from home, so my family gets to come down and watch me play. They don't have to hop on a plane every time, to come see me play, so that's huge.
There's been a lot of changes to the organization since you got here, but through it all, you've had the same head coach. How big is having that continuity and familiarity with Willie?
It's definitely great, especially to be here, the same amount of time coming in with Coach, and then still being here, despite the things that have happened in the past. That shows that, the city of New Orleans, they believe in them and trust them. We believe in them and trust them, and like I said, I think we just ready to kind of get back out and, get to work. Oh, damn, my bad, bro.
Joe highlighted guys like Jeremiah Fears and Jordan Poole and talked about their obsession with basketball. You being a gym rat yourself, what have you seen from those guys this summer in their dedication to the game?
They didn't lie about, being in the gym, and they're extremely hard workers. So that's nothing that I wouldn't expect anything else from them but being in the gym.
What did you notice from Zion this summer?
What you mean?
Like just as far as like Trey said, he's come in his slimmest maybe since he's been here, and there's been obviously a lot of talk of like maybe being more dedicated or just putting in extra work this summer.
I mean, I was out doing my rehab for majority of the summer, so I wasn't here to see it, and I don't ask about anybody when I go back to, especially in the summers. Like I try to give guys their space and time to, work on their games. But I mean, from what I know, Z's been working hard. I'm sure he's been coming back in at nights, to work out. But I'm excited to see, what he's improved on once training camp starts.
Herb, what do you know about Kevon Looney, and have you guys had any discussions? He, of course, takes pride in the defensive end and talking as well.
Yeah, we haven't talked much about, any defensive schemes. I'm just trying to get to know him as a person so that, once we build that relationship, it's easier to do the basketball side of things.
Trey talked about y'all regularly checking in on each other during the summer as y'all went through the rehab and, the Wednesdays, because y'all had the surgery on the same day. Just what was that like, kind of having somebody that you could relate to going through the same rehab, same shoulder, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it was crazy that, his injury happened, I think, the day that I got my stitches out. But I think it was tougher on us just because we love the game so much. But I think in hindsight, it was probably a blessing for us to, you know, go through that season of, you know, just being still, having to sit down and really just pay attention and watch, you know, and try to grow from the sidelines. And I think both of us took a step in leadership and in our games.
What was your impression of Jordan Poole going against him as an opponent in terms of how much of a threat he is? I'm sure you had to match up against him and what he's going to bring here.
I mean, he just ran. It just felt like he ran around a lot, you know. Like it was always a pain to have to guard him because he never stopped moving. But I knew he was a great dude. I had some mutual friends that went to school with him. I mean, I kind of met him before, you know, the trade happened. So, you know, when the trade happened, it was kind of seamless for us to, you know, gel.
I know him as a very flashy guy off the court. I think I always joke about it. Remember you walk into a game just wearing the same Pelicans gear that they give you. Other people always come up like it's, you know, fashion, it's that kind of thing. With the new contract and the time off, did you go treat yourself at all?
Nothing changed. Nothing changed.
Why not?
I mean, if my family is good, I'm cool. I know I probably said that the last time they asked about it, but I don't really care about what anybody says about clothes. So, like, it's kind of, especially going to a basketball game, you know, you probably keep it. I mean, no, I get it, you know, to each his own. But it was just never instilled to dress up to go to a basketball game. And I was always a guy to, you know, we just need to get to the gym because, I mean, you're putting your uniform on 5 minutes into the, you know, once you get in the locker room. So, but I get it though. You know.
Are you excited for this trip to Australia?
Yeah, I'm excited. It's my first time. You know, it's probably the longest flight, but I think it'll be an interesting trip.
You gonna get a chance to see any of the exotic and dangerous wildlife in Australia?
No, I probably won't take that chance. I'll go out there, play basketball, go back, maybe get some food. But
what about? I noticed we mentioned clothes. What about hairstyle? Like you and Trey seem to have a similar one right now. I don't know if that's coincidence or if that's a thing or.
I mean, I just did it during rehab. Just something to do. And then DeJounte told me, he was like, you know, you're not gonna keep him. You're gonna go back to your fro. And so I kind of did it to prove him wrong.
All right, thank you guys.
Appreciate it. Yep. Appreciate you.